Hi, my name is Tara, and I want to welcome you to the View from Israel podcast. Our motto is, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." The View from Israel was born on the Black Sabbath of October 7, 2023, from the need to present valid and confirmed information to the public. Our social media hashtag is View from Israel. Our podcast is available in all major podcast directories. You can listen to it in your favorite podcast app. Our free newsletter is on Substack and comes out approximately 5 times a week. Please take note. We are not associated with any political movement or with any outside institution or company. Our entire budget comes from advertisements in our podcasts and newsletters and videos, memberships, and donations. This is the View from Israel, where we believe silence is no longer an option. We are guided by one major principle. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Now let us go to our podcast.
No one in Israel faced the date, November 22, 2023, and every day since, without conflicted feelings. An impossible decision had to be made. And this decision has to be made every single day. To agree or not to agree. Such a decision has so many facets, so many impossible choices, so many possibilities of going bad, and only one goal. To try and get at least some of the hostages back home. It is, without doubt, a lofty goal. It shows just how precious every single life is to us. So, without quoting newspapers, journalists, politicians, or editorial articles, let me just lay out the impossible before us. Then you make your own decision. So what are the reasons for this hostage deal? It may be possible to get some hostages back to Israel. Please pay attention to the choice of words, may be possible. For 4 days now, we have been making the exchange. There were some nail-biting moments. Hamas divided up families. They divided mothers from children, fathers from their children, and returned partial families. Elma Avram is 84 years old. When she was kidnapped, it was immediately announced that she had multiple health problems, and in order to continue living, she required specific medicines. Her family, and the government of Israel, announced this over and over. Silence. Nothing. No Red Cross intervention. The mighty United States and the EU, with all their moral preaching about the rules of war, could not get an answer from the International Red Cross. Her family bought all the specialized medicines and brought them to the International Red Cross. The staff refused to accept the medicine. Elma Avram, who is 84 years old. Elma came back and was immediately operated upon and put on life-saving medical status. As of this podcast, Elma is now unconscious, held alive by machines, with hypothermia, low pulse, and low blood pressure, and coming from 51 days of living in tunnels, with little food and no medicine. One child, Eitan Yahalomi, who is all of 12 years old, was held at gunpoint, the gun to his head, while he was forced to watch about 45 minutes of footage that portrays the evidence of the gruesome attack carried out by Hamas terrorists. There are many more horrific stories. But, and this is the argument for the exchange, they are all now back home. 86 hostages, including many from Thailand, have been released. For 4 days, each day, 14 to 11 hostages were returned for a ratio of 1 to 3. 1 hostage for every 3 terrorists to be released from jail. But they are home. So, hope remains despite the Hamas animals. Therefore, any possible deal should and must be made. Now we must lay out all the reasons that tell the Israeli government and populace each and every day that this hostage deal is going to end with serious consequences for Israel. It is, without doubt, a cruel, non-sympathetic way of looking at the hostages being held, yet, sadly, it must be done. Reason number 1. In all deals, there must be trust between the two sides that they will meet their obligations. There is no such trust here for Hamas, and the distrust grows day by day. There is not a soul in Israel that trusts Hamas, even among those who have gotten family members back. The overall feeling is that Hamas will simply drag this out in an excruciating manner, playing upon the collective psychology of the Israeli people. Once the first 4 days were up, they now have begun serious games. They will trickle out ever more hostages for more time. This cannot work in Israeli society for too long. It will cause an explosion of might beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Reason number 2. Hamas are worse than Nazis. No matter what the world did after World War II, FDR and Churchill demanded an unconditional surrender from both Germany and Japan. The dropping of the atomic bomb was part of that demand, from which no one backed away. Reason number 3. What Hamas managed to do on October 7, 2023, and took great joy in doing it, has embedded itself so deep in the consciousness of the Jewish people that it will remain there, like the Holocaust, like the Yom Kippur War, like the destruction of the temple by the hands of the Romans. This is something that cannot and will never be forgiven. Never. They marked themselves for death. One does not negotiate with such people. Reason number 4. We treasure life. But the question must be asked. What does one say to the families of soldiers who were already killed, if the goal of this war, and that goal is completely clear, wiping Hamas off the face of the earth, is not reached? How do we as a country face these parents who made the ultimate sacrifice? Do we make decisions of one life of a hostage against the lives of our soldiers who are keeping the entire country safe? A weighty question for sure. One that demands serious thought. Reason number 5. We are releasing fairly dangerous terrorists from our jails for our hostages. These terrorists are being allowed to go back to their homes in Israel. Based upon hard-learned lessons, they will immediately return to their terror activities. So, here is the really bad question. What will we tell the families of someone who is hurt or killed by a terrorist who is released from jail in order to get a hostage back? That is life for life. Who makes that judgment on which life is more important? Reason number 6. Another question related to the above. What do we tell the people who survived a terrorist attack and now watch as their attackers go free? Reason number 7. When, or where, do we draw the line? When does our desire and the price we must pay to release all our hostages become just too much? Reason number 8. How will ever know that all the hostages were really released? How will we know that a year from now, some terrorist won't emerge from a tunnel with a smile on his face and proof he has been holding a hostage for a year? Reason number 9. Part of the deal is that no flights can go over Gaza during this time. No matter what spy satellites and other technology are used, those Hamas left alive will easily be able to move around and change positions. To rearm. To get their anti-tank weapons and guns. Reason number 10. The world wanted supplies to go into Gaza. They got it. The problem is that Hamas is no longer under pressure due to lack of supplies. Reason number 11. The International Red Cross is a useless organization. They are not only meaningless, they are evil. They deserve to get the exact measure Israel will mete out to Hamas. In all this time, they have not once, brought on a simple piece of information on the hostages, nor visited them. If there is a place such as hell, I hope they all get a front row seat. Reason number 12. The deal, by its very nature, smacks of the Nazi practice of selection, or Selektia, as it is known here. something that was also practiced at Entebbe. Men are not allowed out. Women under the age of 50 are not allowed out. We have no idea if babies will be released with their mothers or mothers with their babies. Indeed, 10-month-old Kfir Bibis has spent more than 50 days of his young life in captivity in Gaza and, according to Israel, has been handed over by Hamas to another Palestinian terrorist group in a possible complication of efforts to free him. Do citizens of other countries get preferential treatment? Even though in public everyone denies this, and we all know that they do. The release of all Thailand hostages proves this. Reason number 13. Does Israel institute the death penalty for those terrorists now imprisoned in Israeli jails, with blood on their hands, for the October 7th attack? The fear is once we do this, Hamas will kill all their hostages. The fear is if we do not do this, they will be released in the future, in another hostage exchange. Reason number 14. Finally, how do you make a deal with any people, or even terrorists, that burn bodies? Rapes women both alive and dead. Rapes women and passes these women around to their terrorist friends, and in the middle shoots the woman in the head while continuing to rape her. Shoots and beheads children. Mutilates bodies. Bakes children in ovens. Rips fetuses out of the bellies of live women. Tears off limbs. And then records all this on their own GoPro cameras. How do you make a deal and then trust such people to live up to their side of the deal? So, there it is. You decide. Israel made its decision, though there is no consensus about this. Even some of those who have family that were kidnapped are against the deal. And many others are for this deal. You decide. One thing I am thankful for. I am grateful that I did not have to make such a decision. My thoughts on this deal are my own. But then again, like everyone in this country, I am a different person today than I was on October 6th. I can only pray that wisdom is guiding them. Because no matter how great a politician you are, orator, or soldier, without wisdom with such a decision, we are lost. There is an ancient prayer we recite on the Jewish New Year and Yom Kippur called Unatana Tokef. Leonard Cohen used this prayer to write his famous song Who by Fire? It deals with the destiny of each individual over the coming year. These are the words from the prayer. How many shall pass away, and how many shall be born? Who shall live, and who shall die? Who shall reach the end of his days, and who shall not? Who shall perish by water, and who by fire? Who by the sword, and who by the wild beast? Who by famine, and who by thirst? Who by earthquake, and who by plague? Who by strangulation, and who by stoning? Who shall have rest, and who shall wander? Who shall be at peace, and who shall be pursued? Who shall be at rest, and who shall be tormented? Who shall be exalted, and who shall be brought low? Who shall become rich, and who shall be impoverished? Due to the way the music industry enforces copyrights, it would not be allowed to produce the lyrics of Leonard Cohen's song here. I will simply quote 3 lines. And who by fire, who by water, who by very slow decay, and who shall I say is calling? Who shall I say is calling? Indeed, who? However, let us be clear here. No matter how any of this plays out, no matter what tricks Hamas uses to keep the war from starting again, no matter how many times the US and Europe try to give Israel their hypocritical morality speeches, there is no hole deep enough, no tunnel long enough, and no shield strong enough that will save any Hamas members. Hamas, your days are numbered. Your lives are worthless. Scream Allahu Akbar all you want, call upon the greatness of God all you desire, and dream of your 70 virgins in heaven. We are coming for you. There will be no pity and no second chances. This is not a threat. It is a promise that will be fulfilled. We chose life in the worst dilemma any leader of Israel has had to face. We chose life even while our soldiers are being killed. We chose life because life is precious to us. We chose life because every single Israeli and Jew weighs upon the consciousness of an entire people. We chose life because we believe in hope. We chose life because that is what our people have always chosen from the moment we left Egypt and went from slaves to free people. We chose life because that is what we believe in, no matter how difficult the dilemma is. You have done your best to destroy us, and yet here we still are. We chose life. The people of Israel are, and will always be, alive.
Thank you for listening. Once again, our podcast is available in all major podcast directories. You can listen to it in your favorite podcast app, and soon on our YouTube channel. Our free newsletter is on Substack, and comes out approximately 5 times a week. Either use the links in our profile here, or just go to substack.com and search for The View from Israel. You can subscribe via an email address. It is totally free. There is no paywall. Please consider subscribing, giving us a like, and sharing this podcast and our newsletter with your friends. All donations and memberships are greatly appreciated. If you wish to advertise with us, in our podcast, or in our newsletter, please contact us at advertise@viewfromisrael.com. Please take note. We are not associated with any political movement or with any outside institution or company. Our entire budget comes from advertisements in our podcasts and videos, and newsletters, and memberships, and donations. This is The View from Israel, where we believe silence is no longer an option. We are guided by one major principle. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Have a wonderful day.